For me, it's hard not to love the XM4 right off the bat. Black Ops 1 was the Call of Duty game that got me into Call of Duty games, and the Commando was my favorite weapon out of the bunch. In real life, the Commando was also known as the Colt Commando, or the XM177. Here in Cold War, we have the XM4, the XM4 being the upgraded version of the 177. Also confusingly known as the XM177E2. It had a flash hider that was used in the Vietnam War, according to Wikipedia, but the main difference is that the weapon fired an M855 cartridge instead of a .223 Remington round. You might know M855 ammo as green tip ammunition. For its special color coding, the Full Metal jacket is painted green at the nose. These 5.56 cartridges push a 62 grain projectile designed with a boat tail lead core and special steel penetrator tip. So, as you can tell, I'm able to Google things. So how does this translate into Black Ops Cold War? It's a versatile assault rifle. Now hopefully you didn't click on this video for in-depth stats, like headshot multipliers at ranges, and I'm going to go through every stat and every attachment. This is not an in-depth guide. In fact, if you see the video length, it's very obvious that it won't be. The XM4 in Black Ops Cold War is a 5-shot kill weapon at 722 RPM, and those, in my opinion, are the best stats to look at. I honestly don't bother mixing in headshots with this weapon unless it's at longer ranges, because I just don't really see them as being useful. Also, in close range, I really don't want to go for the head. That head can move very quickly, it can crouch, it can drop, it can strafe. I go for body shots in close range. Call me a scrub, I just think it's more practical. Let's go into our basic pros and cons. The pros of this weapon is that it's very, very simplistic. There's nothing you're really going to have to learn with this weapon. It's an assault rifle. It's the assault rifle's assault rifle. It's the XM4, it's the M4, it's the CAR-15, it's the Armalite M16, AR-10 family of weapons. You've seen them 100 times. The simplicity is a pro here because this is the first AR you unlock in Black Ops Cold War. Because of its accuracy, rate of fire, and shots to kill, you can build this thing for many different playstyles. Whether you want to spec it all the way into sprint to fire speed and hip fire, more long range, conservative play, or just make a more balanced loadout in general. The iron sights on the weapon are pretty easy to use. I'm using a variant here that has a carry handle, and it's easy to use. It's not great, but I don't think too many people are going to be complaining about the sights on the XM4. I will say that the rear sight is a little big, and sometimes you'll lose your target in it, whether you're using the variant or the default, but overall, it's not the biggest deal in the world. When it comes to recoil, the vertical recoil is very easy to control, but the horizontal is a little bit messy. Luckily, the first foregrip you unlock just reduces 15% of your horizontal recoil for free. There's no penalties for that, there's no downsides to the attachment, so I highly recommend using that. It is worth noting that the horizontal recoil I'm talking about is primarily visual. Now when it comes to the cons of this weapon, I don't know. It's hard to really pinpoint any cons with this. It does its job fairly well. I do feel like I'm not exactly exceeding anybody's expectations when using it. Its simplicity is both a pro and a con. I'm not outgunning people with this left and right. There are so many weapons that just slap me when I'm using this. LMGs, DMRs, sniper rifles, shotguns, some pistols in close range really feel like they have the leg up on me because of how many shots I have to land consistently, especially if I'm not going for the head, which sometimes you should, sometimes you shouldn't. I mean, honestly, sometimes you can't. But you might be asking, what is the weapon for? And luckily I can just say, the weapon is really good if you want to pick an assault rifle and you don't really want to care about it. There's nothing really bad or good about it. The learning curve on this thing is basically flat. You really don't have to overcome anything to use it, and it's not bad. You're not going to be outclassed by everything, and you're not going to overclass anything. You have a balanced, versatile assault rifle. There you go. There's the reason to use it. Sometimes peace of mind is a reason to use something, and in this case, it's a damn good one. Now I got a couple loadouts for you. The first one is a basic versatile assault rifle build for a basic versatile assault rifle. Seems fitting. The infantry compensator, the foregrip, the SWAT 5mm laser sight, the SAS combat stock, and the 11.8-inch Ranger barrel. If you're playing on more long-range maps, switch the laser sight out for an optic of your choice because the iron sights can be a little crappy to use at a distance, but this thing's going to be accurate, it's going to be headache-free. You shouldn't come into any problems using this weapon, and any problem you come into, just swap to a different attachment, and you're not really going to notice too many downsides. It's kind of hard to recommend good min-max loadouts for something that's already really balanced. But here's my favorite way to run the weapon. With 8 attachments using the Gunfighter wildcard, we use the Agency Suppressor, the Foregrip, Ember Sighting Point, Laser Sight, the SAS Combat Stock, the 13.5-inch Reinforced Heavy Barrel, the 40-round magazine, the Serpent Wrap, and the Susat Multi-Zoom. This is a versatile laser of a weapon. If somebody's in close range, hipfire them. The hipfire is amazing with the Ember Sighting Point. That Ember Sighting Point is also going to illuminate enemies for you. The SAS Combat Stock can hurt your hipfire accuracy a little bit, but the laser sight more than makes up for it, and you get really good shooting move speed and aim walking movement speed. Well, pretty good shooting move speed. It's only 5% increase, but it's better than nothing. The Serpent Wrap is to just help you get down sights quickly and snappily. With that laser sight, you're going to be able to hipfire into aiming down sight, and you're going to be counteracting your negatives pretty well here. We go for that 13.5-inch heavy barrel because it reduces the downsides of the suppressor, and the suppressor also helps us with our recoil control just a little bit. The optic is variable between 2 and 4 times, so it's really good for close or long ranges. I will recommend, if you're playing at very long ranges and you're not being aggressive with this build, switch to the Field Agent grip, because that helps your vertical and horizontal recoil, but reduces your shooting move speed. But if you're not doing that, I highly recommend just the basic foregrip. The SFOD speed grip is also a good choice, but of course, my classes are not set in stone. You can always alter them to your playstyle. I highly recommend not using a particular YouTuber's loadout without tweaking it a little bit for how you like to play. I was raised in Prenville, Oregon, so I say fur sometimes instead of four. We didn't know how to talk down there. One really important thing to note is that if you use the 13.7-inch extended barrel, you're going to be firing with a muzzle velocity of 1100 meters per second. If you put that barrel on, you will never have to worry about leading your targets, at least on any 6v6 map that I can think of. I've used this barrel in Fireteam and still didn't have to lead shots. It's really great for long range builds, so keep that in mind. The reason I like the 13.5-inch reinforced barrel is because it helps my damage range and my bullet velocity, and just kind of hurts my shooting moving speed and my aim walking movement speed. So if you pair it with the right stock and a suppressor, you're going to be getting rid of your negatives really well. The stocks in the game can help with the downsides of the barrel, and the barrel helps with the downsides of the suppressor. The suppressor keeps you off the minimap. That's incredibly important. Here's an ideal class loadout, in my opinion. Just a 1911, the Commando, Stimshot, C4, Assault Pack, Tac Mask Assassin, Ghost. It works really well. Obviously the Gunfighter wildcard, because I love running 8 attachments. This is a good versatile build for going on streaks if you're going to play conservatively. If you want to tweak this to have Ninja, take the high zoom optic off and be a little bit more aggressive, that's fine too. Because of the way the attachments and perks are set up in Cold War, you're never going to have the singular definitive loadout. And in some ways that's good, in some ways that's frustrating, but what you're going to want to do is constantly tweak your loadouts depending on the map you're on and the players you're fighting against. You can start from my template, but always put your own flavor on it. Closing thoughts? I love these weapons in Call of Duty. I always love the versatile basic weapons in COD, whether it's the AK-12 in Advanced Warfare, the M4 in literally every Modern Warfare game, and I love the XM4 here. If I have to play Black Ops Cold War and I have to use an assault rifle, I'm likely going to say XM4 because I don't have to really change my playstyle for it. It's that versatile. So yeah, the word of the day is versatility. Our next gun review will be the MP5 because we're going to do the first weapon of every category and see if this gets any traction by the end of that. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.